Awesome, thank you. Well, welcome everyone. I'm sure it's a busy time of your day. I think I saw some of you traveling in a car, so hopefully you will be driving safely home. I'm just going to share a little bit about SkillStruck. I've done a few different webinars here with IDEA, mainly a little bit of hands-on, a little bit of coding for you to bring back to your students. But today I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of our resource and then kind of talk about how we can start to get thinking about reaching some computer science mandates and teaching to the Illinois computer science standards and offer you some very special pilot programs to give us a try this fall if that is something you would like to do. So I am going to just get started here with a few slides. We'll jump into our platform and then we will talk a little bit further about our pilots here. So I'm going to just unplug something because it is messing with my screen. All right. So I have done a lot of research, a lot of work with Illinois and specifically the computer science standards and some of these mandates when it comes to computer science. So we'll jump into that. Before we do, just a little bit of background on me. I am Jessica. I'm a partnership manager here with SkillStruck. I've been with SkillStruck for a little bit over a year. Before that, I was an innovation coach in an elementary school here in Wisconsin, where I helped teachers integrate technology, project-based learning. I managed our school library, and then I also taught all of the students in our building computer science, coding, robotics, 3D printing, you name it. I probably dabbled in it a little bit. My favorite part of that role was really the computer science piece, and throughout teaching through the pandemic and all of that and adoption of so many different technology pieces, I just saw such an importance in computer science and making sure students have these skills for the future. So very, very big into being there for teachers and trying to make your life easier because I have been there and I understand all that you need to accomplish. And hopefully I can get you a little bit excited about computer science and help you teach it with ease. So there's a lot of reasons why computer science is important, and maybe you're just here because you are like, there's a mandate coming and I have to do it. But there are a lot of reasons why we really strive to get computer science out there for students, for teachers. Some of them being career prep, a big one that there is a lack of diversity in the tech field. It helps with post-secondary school, so enrollment in college courses, and it helps with life skills, collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and so many other things. So these are some reasons why we just love doing what we do every day to really help our students be prepared. What I know about Illinois, and these resources will be shared with you, so I won't go into each separate link, and maybe you know a little bit about this. I learned a lot about this from actually an IDEA webinar in the past, but we have a couple different things going when it comes to computer science. There's computer science, and then there's also some computer literacy work, and all of this is kind of building up off of each other. So starting with the requirement that ninth graders are offered computer science in 22-23, and then every year after that gets a little bit more in depth. Pretty soon we'll be sprinkling down to middle school, elementary school, so it's never too early to get started with trying to see what works best for you. First years of computer science teaching, there will be trials, there will be errors, so never too early to start dabbling in this, especially if something like a mandate is looming over you. I also kind of broke down these alignments here are how we align to the computer literacy work and the computer science standards in Illinois. So I have a whole SkillStruck alignment piece here that will break down every standard that we meet when it comes to Illinois. So that'll kind of say, yes, we meet this, or we're still working through it. For K-5, there's just 4 that we don't meet currently. For 612, we meet 100% of the standards. So we've got 4 outliers that we will be working to get in there, but that will be how we align, and you can see the breakdown there. When it comes to Skillstruck in our platform, we have an educator portal for all K-12 teachers. We have a Launchpad platform that is for kindergarten through 5th grade. And we have some different paths that can be taken, which I'll speak to when we show a little bit more. But those paths, really, if you can teach it only one time per month, we have a whole pathway that you can take for that. If you are a technology teacher and you get to teach the students every single week, there's a path to take 4 or 5 teaching points a month. So you'll kind of see that through our educator portal. And then we have a secondary portal for 612 called Voyage. And these are broken up into some semester courses, some exploratory things. We cover languages such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We get into Python, and then we have some AP courses, and we also have some computer science basics, which is great for 6th grade, and we'll kind of touch a little bit on those as well. Just gonna check the chat here. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm just pausing a minute to see. Okay, had to reduce a little bit of noise there. So digging deeper into our platforms, which you'll see a little bit more in depth shortly, but Launchpad is for K-5. We do block-based and text-based coding. There's an introduction to HTML starting in 3rd grade, which is my favorite part. We have unplugged activities. We teach using our night puzzles for some block and text-based coding. For secondary, we have this for grade 612, different languages like I just showed in that scope and sequence. And then we have opportunities here for digital portfolios, which is so cool. So students' work can travel with them. They can download it. They could share them for getting an internship or whatever it may be. And some group projects there is another cool piece to that. In addition to that, if you are a teacher that maybe is responsible for tackling computer science, but you're responsible for that in your very own classroom and not like a specials course, we do have cross-curricular options. So for Launchpad in kindergarten through 5th grade, we can explore science, math, and ELA through our coding platform. They can be standard aligned. There will be lesson plans approaching that as well. And then for our 612 Voyage, we have exploring math through Python and exploring conservation through Python. So a couple of cross-curricular options to maybe bring this into science, bring this into math, engage students in those classes, and check off a couple boxes for yourself. Outside of that, we're kind of talking a little bit more about computer science and that platform, but we do have a type station platform as well. So when we think of students starting some HTML in 3rd grade, we're thinking about they need to figure out where those keys are on their keyboard. So this typing platform ties in very nicely to getting them comfortable with the keyboard, because with so many devices that are tapping around, they may not be quite comfortable with a keyboard. And then we'll jump into our educator portal, where we'll be able to manage curriculum, see student progress, lesson plans, and all of that good stuff. Before we jump over there to kind of really see the platform, I just wanted to point out, which I'll show you this too, but our platform is also available in Spanish. So at the flip of a button here, we can have this all in Spanish for any of those English language learners that you have. So I'm going to jump into our platform, and then I'm going to show you some pilot program options, and then provide you with a survey in case you would like to learn more. Any questions before I get started? All right. I'm going to just stop this here and start a new one. Still getting used to this keynote. All right, jumping into our platform. So our platform, like I stated earlier, has a few different components. We have Launchpad, we have Voyage, we have TypeStation, we have Educator Portal, and we'll kind of speak to this flight training that you see here as well. But I'm going to jump into Launchpad. And feel free to shout out any questions. Feel free to put anything in the chat. I will do my best to peek over there and make sure I can get some answers for you. So I will start here at some earlier grades so you can see how everything kind of builds off of each other. But we do have content for kindergarten through 5th grade. For time today, I'm just going to go straight to 2nd. What I will say for our K2 space, a lot of our lessons are limited on the platform and more teacher-led through discussion, some movement activities, some unplugged work. So a lot of that will be a little bit less on the platform, just because it's more appropriate for this age group to be a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more teacher-led. But for kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, we do have 6 lessons in the platform for each of those grade levels. We cover things such as passwords, algorithms, data, being safe with technology, all those digital citizenship things are sprinkled throughout here as well. I'll just jump into this algorithms. So in the platform here, there will be limited text at this grade level. There will be a text-to-speech option, and there's always going to be a video. And this video will be just going over the topic that is in the lesson. So this video will be all about teaching students really quickly about algorithms. And then as you kind of get deeper into the other grade levels, there will be a little bit more there as well. What you'll see here is there's a text, which is this whole area here. And then there are scenes. And these scenes are going to be different challenges that teach students about, for this lesson, algorithms. So if I were to go into one of these lessons here, this one is Secret Spy, they'll have some block coding activities to complete. So there will be different sprites for them to choose from, different backgrounds, some things in nature. We've got some shapes. So they'll be able to do some different sprites. And this is a little bit more structured than just a free playground to create, which we also have. But these specific challenges will have certain requirements for your students to complete. So they'll need a certain amount of movement blocks, they'll need a trigger block, they'll need an end block, and as they work, there will be check marks to show them their progress along the way. So they'll be able to see which part of those requirements are complete. And then the scenes will get a bit more challenging as they go on. So there will be more requirements for them. Let's see if you can see one a little bit open here. So here I have this. I'll just toss a couple blocks in here so you can see when I get that check mark here. Do another character for fun. We'll have her being tapped. It'll give you a check mark for that. Outside of that, in flight training, you were just seeing some of those challenges. Those are built right into specific lessons that are going to teach different things like algorithms like you saw, but there will be a free playground for them to create. So you could really use this with anything, retelling a story, anything that you're really working on. They can kind of be free to create, but they also have some structure within those challenges. So a good balance between being creative and also having some things expected of them. And then after they complete some scenes, they will be able to go into some different games. At this level, it's just kind of matching or maybe building an algorithm, like what step comes first with building a sandwich or things like that. What I like to say is our games are fun, but they are not like the best thing in the world. So they're not distracting students from their actual learning of computer science concepts and rushing through the lesson just to get to the game. If I know anything from teaching this with students, that was something that was so important to me, that they really are focusing on the learning and not so much playing in those different games. So I'll jump into 3rd grade. I'm just going to keep an eye here on the time. So 3rd grade, I like to say, is where we really get into the meat of computer science. These lessons are going to be more in depth. There's going to be more responsibility on the students, and they're going to really dive into coding and computer science. So We, of course, have lessons on internet safety, cybersecurity, making sure we touch on those important standards. And then we start with some sequencing algorithms like you saw in second grade, but they'll be a bit different of a flow, more appropriate for the age group. So when we go through here, we're going to have some text. There's a lot more text there, but we still have this text-to-speech option that will travel with students throughout even the secondary experience. They can read all of the text here or listen to it. And then there's going to be a video. This video will reinforce the learning from the lesson, so sequencing in this case, and prepare students to do our code castle, which is our different night puzzles. So it'll give them a feel for what will be expected of them when they practice, and it'll reinforce some learning. So students will be able to read that text, have it read to them, or watch a video, or all of the above, whatever works best for them. And then after the text, there will be a quiz. It is just a quick few questions, check for understanding. For you, it will be auto-graded, so a student will be able to see if they get their answer incorrect. They will be encouraged to try again, and then they will have a hint to improve. So throughout our experience, our quizzes and our puzzles, our challenges for HTML, everything is auto-graded and gives students a little bit of feedback. So before having to run up to your table or shout out your name, they'll have a couple little things that they can try to troubleshoot on their own before they ask you. So that is a nice piece as well. And then when we get into our puzzles, so these puzzles we're going to be practicing sequencing. Our puzzles are night puzzles. A couple things I want to just point out here. I'm going to see if I can get a couple things wrong for us. Couple things to point out here. So like I said, students will get immediate feedback every step of the way as they're working. What you'll notice here is I immediately am told in red that something's not quite right. I can't move down, the path is blocked. So I know that I need to do a little bit of improvements here. And then if I were to make an improvement and still get it incorrectly, it is going to tell me what my night is doing and kind of give that prompt again. So here as a student, I'm turning right to face left. Okay, so my turning right block isn't quite right here. And I can switch that through. Now that I have it correct, but I'm not quite complete, it'll tell the student what is happening, and in yellow say, you're not quite there yet, your algorithm is not quite complete, kind of give them a little bit of indicator that they have a little bit more to go. So I like this. If you've taught computer science in the past, what I really experienced was if my students weren't watching the screen every single step of the way that their character was moving, they might not know where a mistake went wrong, and they may have to rewatch the whole thing over. Which at first in this case is not that big of a deal, and there's only just a few movements. But once the challenges get more in depth and there's way more to navigate through, it is a little bit of time consuming. So I love that they can see what's happening every step of the way. And at any time, they can bring up their textbook for a little bit of support. So if they're really struggling through something, they can remind themselves of what they've been learning, and they can even play this video as they work for a little bit additional support. And then for your students who are a little bit more advanced coders, you can change this over to script, and they can type out the different movements that need to be made. So if I needed one more move forward block, I could just type that in here, and students can have a little bit more of a challenge, especially as they get towards like end of 4th grade and 5th grade. They may want to start typing this out instead of the block-based format. So those are our puzzles that kind of go along with sequencing algorithms, events, loops and conditionals, all of that good stuff. And again, there will be some games here. We have some games built right in. Again, they are not too distracting for students, and all of them relate right back to the lesson. So even in this typing game, it's one sentence, but it's all about sequencing, which is what they were learning. So it all flows together, and it's not completely random. This is hopefully helping them continue their learning here. What you'll see is if I make a mistake, it won't let me move forward until I get it correct. So that is how our puzzles work and those different topics as variables, conditionals, all of that. But what we do also have is we have HTML. So we introduced HTML starting in 3rd grade. So they will start to learn some basics here, which is a little bit different than I've experienced in the past. I think I always told myself students in 3rd grade could never teach or do HTML, but I wish I could go back and change my mindset back then. But this is our HTML experience. So very similar to what you saw, there will be text here, there will be a text-to-speech option, there will be a video, so they'll be quite comfortable with how this all flows. Instead of having different puzzles, now we're going to have challenges. So that's a little bit different than what you just saw. And we also have what we call coding checkpoints. These checkpoints are just a quick way for students to practice what they've learned in that lesson. So in this case, we're learning about HTML tags. We're bringing in a header here. They can bring that textbook back at any time. What you'll see here is we recommend starting your 3rd graders with block-based HTML before diving right into text-based. So they're comfortable dragging and dropping blocks. So we kind of start with that. So what they'll be able to do is drag some blocks over, and they'll see it run on the right, but they're also going to see it translate to text-based on the right lower corner. So they can start to really think about and make that connection between a block and text-based. Hopefully once they are exposed to this a bit more, this will be a little less scary as they get through. So 4th and 5th grade, they might be quite ready to get rid of those blocks and just see text-based. Hopefully this doesn't become more intimidating for them. The other thing is, I'll just kind of show this here. You can do a little mix and match of both. You can type, refresh your block, it'll throw a block over there. So that's a nice thing to do as well to get them comfortable with text-based and block-based. So after a code checkpoint, there's a quiz. You saw that, auto-graded, gives them hints. And then there will be different challenges. So this is where a teacher can decide which ones they want required with a star, or they can let students have some voice and choice and pick whichever ones they want. Or maybe you have some ideas for how this can be cross-curricular. So for example, what are you grateful for could be done with a little bit of SEL time. These challenges, when you enter them, it'll tell you your requirements. It'll always give students an example of what it will look like and have them go on their way here. So for this, it was 5 header level 1 tags. Let's see, I've got some in here. You can see all my blocks here on the side running, and then my text-based. Or submit my code and it would be correct. It would tell me, nice job. This says nice job completing it again because I've probably done it a ton of times. And then they can continue with their next challenge. And then just for time's sake, I won't go into too many more lessons here, but I will show you how these progress. So even if I'm doing some text colors here, I'm going to bring up this challenge just so you can see the blocks here. So they're going to be able to even do properties and styles with that block based, which is super cool. So they can put a color in here and see how this all runs. So they do get quite deep into these different concepts. They get into styles, they get into fonts, all of that, and that can all be done in block-based. Again, if you have advanced coders, you could just have them switch to text-based and they can do work that way. Beyond that, in 4th and 5th grade, we just get deeper into those concepts. Same flow. There's always going to be a video, a text-to-speech option. There's going to be different challenges. But then outside of that, I'll kind of go into grade 5 cross-curricular here. We have these cross-curricular lessons as well. So in this case, this is exploring science through coding. This is a text colors lesson. So you kind of just saw a sneak peek of that in 3rd grade, how I was dragging those different style blocks. But this lesson will be all about teaching students text colors and tying it directly into producers, consumers, and decomposers. So it's combining learning this coding concept with maybe a concept that you're able to teach through science. So this will go through these try it boxes are little examples of what the code will look like. There will be a checkpoint, a quiz, just like you saw, and then the challenges will be building off of each other with these different concepts with consumers, producers, and decomposers. Those three words are very close together, and I have to talk real slow when I do that. But these will be all about learning these different, it starts with learning these different vocabulary words, and then the students will style producers with a green style block for that text color, consumer red, decomposer blue, and then it'll continue to go. So for this one, consumer challenge, they're going to create 6 different header tags, okay, from big to small, all different colors of 6 examples of consumers. So that's just one example of how that can be brought in to the regular classroom. Science, math, ELA, we have a little bit for all of those. And then just in general, some of those challenges that you saw, there's a lot of good cross-curricular options in there as well. Just going to pause here for a minute. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. All right, I will keep on going. So that is our elementary platform. There's a lot more I could show you, but just for time, want to keep moving it along. So we also, since I was talking about HTML, so this is also a important thing that I like to talk about with teachers, with schools, is we offer our entire HTML1 course in our Launchpad platform. So this could be great for 6th graders. Maybe your 6th graders haven't had exposure to HTML and you think that the secondary platform, which you'll see shortly, might be a little bit more intimidating for them. They'd be able to get all of the HTML1 content in here in just a more friendly way to get them started. So I really love that. You could even start them and, maybe you do the first 6 lessons in here and then you graduate them to the secondary platform. But just want to point that out, especially if, middle school is just getting started with computer science or whatnot. This will be a friendly place for them to learn HTML. But I will jump into our secondary platform. Going to have to share a new tab here. So I'm just going to pause for a moment. This is a great time to put a question in the chat if you have one, or shout it out if you can. I'm just going to pull up our secondary here in a fresh tab so we don't get bombarded. And I think what I'll do, all right. I don't see a question, but I see I'm good, looks great, love it, love to hear that. All right. I'm used to Zoom where you can tap tons of screens, so let me know if you're not seeing Voyage. Are you seeing a screen that is blue and says code, projects, profile, type station? Okay, cool. All right, so this is our secondary platform. So this is Voyage. This is made for 6 through 12, but again, if you have 6th graders just getting started, we have that HTML option over in Launchpad where you just saw it. These are all of our web development courses. We have HTML1, which you saw. It'll just be taught in a little bit of a different way, where students will get all of their learning on the left side, still have text-to-speech and videos. They'll learn this way. They'll have their checkpoints, their quizzes, their challenges, and they code in the middle here where you see all of my code, and then they'll see it run on the right side. At any time, if this is way too overwhelming for students, we can close different windows. So we can just focus on the text here, or we can focus on both, or all of them. So you can get rid of the textbook. So they can kind of manage how their screen looks, which is nice. And then what I spoke to earlier about student portfolios is what you'll see here is show project files. They'll be able to create new folders and new files within folders so that they can download code and have an ongoing portfolio of all of their work. So I really love that. I know student learning portfolios are huge, and for coding, it should be no different. You should be able to keep your code and work through your projects and be organized too. So it's really nice that they can have different folders for different topics, different challenges, and maybe they even are going to start creating project files of things that they can share their learning using coding in any classroom. So I love the project files component here. So for web development, we have HTML1, and then we have some projects. These projects are also just great ways to bring this cross-curricular. We've got music history in there. We've got color check-ins for SEL. So there's a lot in there that can really be used in any classroom. Maybe you're the computer science teacher and you know that students in music class who could use some higher engagement, they could make a little music history website. So that's kind of what I love about that, and you can increase your collaboration among staff, and just such cool stuff built in here. And then we have CSS1 with projects, and then we dive in HTML2, which is really getting into combining those two concepts, some external style sheets, all of that. And then we do JavaScript 1 with projects 2 and 3. So those are web development. Then we have Python. So we have 1, 2, and 3, all with some projects. These projects are super fun. We actually have a Mad Lib thing coming up, spooky Mad Libs for October. So if you want to dabble in any Python, that could be a great fun thing for you to learn how to make spooky Mad Libs, and then you can go back and do it with your students. So I'll make sure to put a link in my resources in case that sounds interesting to you. After Python, we have cross-curricular options. We've got AP, we've got game design, ITS certification course, tons of other things in here. What I do want to touch on before you see the educator portal is computer science basics. So I love this course. Again, for 6th, 7th graders, you're just getting started maybe, this is perfect. So for computer science basics, we cover computer parts and pieces, internet, cybersecurity, but my favorite is this careers and technology. I'm going to get these out of the way here so you can see it. So I love this. These are all different careers that students could have in technology, and they can open these all up and they can learn about what these different careers are, what they do, a typical day, job and salary outlook. So they can come in here and say, oh, I could make anywhere from 65,000 to 113 a year. Like, that's pretty cool. So what I love about this is it really builds the why for students of why they're learning computer science skills. A lot of these jobs, it might just tap into computer science a little bit, but what we love is to show students that when you have these skills, these are the jobs that could be there for you, and they could be in your local community, right? You could be working from home, still where you grew up, helping out your community. So just love this piece. And then for teachers, when it comes to this careers in technology, there's ideas for mock interviews, mock resumes, having students create a website of what job they would like. So just a really cool place to start, especially in middle school, of why the heck am I learning about computer science? Well, this is why. These are the careers that you could have. I love it. So careers in technology course, and then we get into history of computer science and things like that. So that's what our secondary platform has to offer. Again, it's just a little bit more professional learning where you're learning everything on the left, you're coding in the middle, and you're seeing it run on the right side, and being able to kind of move your screen as you work. But most importantly for you who are here today is probably the educator resources. How can I teach computer science if I've never taught it before? Or how can this be easy for me to manage, easy for me to see? So these are our classroom resources. I'll just dive into a couple. I won't do them all. If you'd like to learn more about all of them, you can reach out. But you can manage your students, your sections, and your curriculum. So you can manage your curriculum where you can require a specific amount of challenges, a specific amount of puzzles or games, and then you can lock students out of different things. So if you're like, okay, well, let me lock up all this web development and I only want them to be doing the basics course, you can do that so that the students would see less. They wouldn't move past you if they are going into another classroom and trying to work on your work. You can really lock them out of what you would like. The other thing that I would just like to point out is managing students in sections is super easy. And if you have a group of students where you're working with them and you're seeing that they are flying, like they are super advanced, they're great, what you can do is easily put them into a different section, like you could call them a color or whatever it may be. You can put them in a different section and unlock more things for them to complete and work on. And maybe you have higher challenge requirements or things like that. And you can move them around at any time and all the progress will save and follow them. So at any time you're like, oh, I gotta bring you back. So it's really easy to do that. And it's just great to be able to do that when you want to allow students to advance or maybe they need a little extra support as well. What I also enjoy, which you won't be able to see here because I need to upload some data, but this is our student progress dashboard. And what it'll look like is there will be an empty circle if a student is working on it but has never completed it. There will be a slash if they've never even opened. And then this circle will change into a black circle with a check mark, and that will indicate that they've completed every part of the lesson. And then when you, the teacher, open that, you will be able to see when the lesson started and when the lesson finished. So if it was in like 1 minute, you know something's probably not quite right. You'll be able to view their checkpoint and their quiz attempts. So you saw those quizzes, how they could correct their answer. You, the teacher, would still know that they had to do multiple attempts in order to get those answers correct, leading you to probably check in with those who have struggled a little bit with the quiz and give them a little bit more support. And then you'll be able to view submitted code. So at any time, if a student were to have to submit code, so you saw those challenges, you'll be able to click view submission. And if there was a submission here, you'd be able to view their code. And on the left side, you'd be able to view the requirements of that challenge and view their code and kind of see where that is at. And then coming in the future, you'll be able to kind of give them some feedback in there as well on their code. So that's student progress. Sorry you have to see all flashes. I've got to get that fixed up. And then here's where things will be really, really helpful for those teaching computer science. So for every student lesson that you saw, there will be a lesson plan for teachers. And these are broken up into a few different paths. You can have a 1 time per month, a 2 to 3 times per month, or a 4 times per month. So depending on your commitment and your availability to teach this, you can follow these different pathways. What I'd like to say is we made sure that in our lesson plans at 1 time per month, those meet all of the standards that are listed. So in this case, if you were only able to teach 1 time per month, you would still meet the 2nd grade computer science standards that we align to. So you don't have to teach it 4 times per month just to reach that, which is an important thing to know. So our lesson plans will be broken up into a warm-up, a teacher demonstration, a class activity, and a wrap-up. And then we also always have some additional resource downloads. So some additional, in this case, we're doing a little bit of a bingo. So we've got a little unplugged activity there. And then there will be slideshows along the way as well. So lots of resources. And every step of the way, we've got lesson plans for our teachers. A lot of these lesson plans will connect to the real world. I know we've got some stuff with maps in here. We've got stuff with lining up for recess can be an algorithm. So really tying things into everyday things. So those are our lesson plans. And then for each grade level, they'll be broken up by that 1, 2 to 3, 4. And then 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade will have some cross-curricular work as well. And then finally, before I kind of dive into our pilot program options, we have a community page. This is brand new. This is a place for teachers to be able to share maybe their own ideas for teaching computer science, to be able to look at our events, to be able to get support, and then to be able to search different classroom resources. So I'll just dive into this one. These are our activities. And what you can do in community is you can type out a certain thing that you are looking for. You can open up by topic. So if I wanted to teach angles, let's see, maybe grades 1, 2, 3, I'd be able to see if there is something for me with that, which it didn't look like there was, but we'll have to add that. But for this one, animal survival, so you'll be able to search by topic, by grade, and really see what activities are out there. And then this is where teachers right now are able to add in their own lesson ideas and share it with the greater Skillstruck community, help each other out, share some fun things, and just have some fun. Beyond that, then there's professional development. So we're kind of talking about how can I teach this if I've never taught this before? You'll have that lesson plan, but you'll also have some resources from our team as well. So we do have our teammates here at Skillstruck from our learning team. We have them demonstrating how to teach a lesson. We also have different teaching coding concepts videos. These are upskilling your teaching videos. So this is all about building classroom culture. How do I help debugging? All of these lessons here that you can kind of dig into, start a lesson, start some learning, and get some help with teaching computer science. So that's a little bit about our platform. I know that's kind of a lot of information. What I will bring up next is we are offering some pilot programs for the fall for IDEA members. So this will be linked in the resources that will be shared with you. But this is how you can kind of test this out this year and see if it's a good fit for you. Again, this will include access to our Skillstruck platforms. Again, Launchpad is K5, Voyage is 612, and then we tossed in TypeStation there too, so that typing platform. You'd have access to that educator portal that you saw, curriculum alignment here. You'd have some designated support from our support team and from our CSMs. You would get a community code event, so that is run by our team. I'm here in Wisconsin, so it'd probably be me driving on over and leading an event for your school. And then you would have some professional development sessions if you go with a higher one. So really diving into what we offer for professional development, having our team support your teachers and help them teach computer science, and then 4 coaching hours in collaboration with IDEA. So together we would team up and provide you some coaching hours. Again, just getting more comfortable with computer science, maybe helping support computer science and all of that. So we have some different options here. We have a teacher pilot, which is free. So this is our free version of our platform. It has limited curriculum. So for K through 5, it is 2 to 3 lessons per grade level with lesson plans, student progress dashboard, and then your students, up to 120 of them, can access the platform. We have an IDEA special, which will be $1,000 up to 50 students. And that will get you the full curriculum. So everything that you kind of saw today and more would be available for you. A bronze pilot would be up to 300 students for $2,500. And then silver and gold will have some additional perks here. So those professional development sessions and some coaching hours would be included in there. Silver up to 1,000 students, gold unlimited amounts of students. So this will be available to IDEA members up until December 31st. So kind of this first semester chunk here. And then if you love it and you're like, I'm in, I want to do it next year, that pilot would be then extended until the end of the school year. So those are some of our options to support you with computer science, to get you started, to see how we can help, to get you dabbling, having fun, but having a lot of support from our team and from IDEA along the way, should you choose one of those paths. What I will do now is I'm going to stop sharing. Please feel free to answer any or ask any questions in the chat, and I will do my best to answer those. But I am going to put in a link in the chat. It's just a quick survey. If you are interested in learning more about the pilot programs and how those will work, you can fill out that survey, and then myself or my partner, Kurt, will follow up with you to see how we can support you with computer science. So all of these resources will be shared with you. Those slides that you saw will be tied to some of those resources, like the computer literacy information, our standard alignment. Okay, it says we need permission. I will fix that. All right, I will fix that. I will make sure this link is available to you. Clearly, I haven't done a Google form in a while. Okay, that should be fixed. I'll post that again, and hopefully that'll work for you. So again, those resources will be available to you. Thank you for spending some time learning a little bit more about us. I will reach out if you fill out that form, or if you don't, I'll make sure my contact information is in those slides that you saw as well, so that you can reach out to me directly if you need a little bit of support. Again, I'm here to help. Been there. My goal is to help as many teachers teach computer science and have fun and support you along the way. So please be sure to reach out if you need anything. Thank you for your time today. Looks like you get about 12 more minutes of your evening, and hopefully I chat with some of you soon.